going to talk about rejuvenating your containers. As you can see, this container here was at one time very beautiful by the look of all of the blossoms that it has. However, it's starting to look a little bit yellow, and it's setting some nice green healthy leaves down on the bottom, and there's a lot of blossoms here that are done that need to be deadheaded. So I'm going to show you today how to rejuvenate your pot, and once it's done being trimmed, you'll have a beautiful container. So first I would suggest that you start finding, first you can have a look down here where all the green leaves are growing nice and healthy, and then you can take a pair of these little pruners, which are perfect for snipping back any dead blossoms or stems. So you can start snipping back, like I mentioned, down back by the green stem, just like that. And it really does not take very much time, and your plants will thank you in the end for giving them this nice haircut, is what we usually call it. As you keep pruning it back, be sure that you're getting any stems that are left in there so that it will encourage some new growth and to be able to set some new blooms. This blossom here, as you can see, has a seed pod on it, and that will not blossom again. So it's very important to take, when you're deadheading, to take it off right down to the base of the main stem. Many people think that all they have to do is just pull off the blossoms, but really, ideally, it is best to trim it back to the main stem like I had just showed you. And on this one, this is the main stem right here, and you're going to cut it right down to the main stem, and then even take off down as far as you get to where it's turning nice and green. So that is the basics on how to trim it back. This is a container right here that has already been pruned back. As you can see, the difference between the two colors. This one has a lot of yellow on it. This one has a lot of green. So after a couple of weeks, this pot here will show you some new growth, like this one right here. Now, some of the reasons why this pot may be a little on the yellow side is a lack of food. It's very important to make sure that you fertilize your containers on a week to 2 week basis. And the type of fertilizer that you can use is this Miracle Grow, or you can use any organic fertilizer of your choice. Another possibility of why it could be too yellow is that it's getting either too much or too little of water. And generally the best rule of thumb is to lift the pot, and if it feels like it's a little too heavy, then it's getting too much. Or if you put your finger in the pot and the surface feels dry, then you should start watering it a little more regularly. On days that are really hot and dry, some of these containers will need to be watered twice a day. And you can also check the weight of it by just watching the water come out of the bottom where the drain holes are. Be sure that when you have a container that you do have holes in the bottom, as this will help your drainage, and it will also help your flower pot look healthier. If you know that there's going to be a heavy rainfall coming, the best thing to do when you have a hanging basket is to be sure to take it off of the rod that you have it hanging from and put it down on the ground. As the heavy rain pounds down on your containers, it will make the weight of the container get too heavy, and then it'll snap and break, and then your pot will be on the ground. So that's an excellent tip to use if you know that there's rain coming. There's also another solution too for making sure that one side of your container is not growing too much, and that's to be sure to rotate your pot every week or so, just to make sure that your container is getting the even amount of light, which will give it a even growth all the way around the pot. Another concern that people may have too with their containers is pests and diseases. If you look down in the base of your pot, you will see that there's some dead foliage there, and it's always a good practice to be sure to pull all those dead leaves out, and that will reduce any amount of disease or any pests such as earwigs to harbor in around the plant. And that will also be a good help to be sure that your pots remain healthy. Pots that are dark in color, not this pot here, the color of this pot is not too bad, but if you have pots that are black, be very mindful to be sure that they're getting enough water, and maybe even give them a bit of light shade from time to time, because the black pots will heat up faster than the white or lighter color pots such as this. So those are a few tips that you could take in rejuvenating your pot. This pot here is all ready to go and ready to be hung up for a good show of people that walk by your home. And if you're concerned about having your sheared back pot hanging out where people can see it, you could always take it and hang it in the back of your house for about a week or 10 days, just until it's ready to start showing some new growth, and then you can put it back out and enjoy it all over again. I hope you enjoyed this section of container gardening tips, and happy gardening.